Someone wrote in and said, I've been single and celibate for years. I've tried online dating, approached men, lost weight, joined a gym, joined a church, dyed my hair, volunteered in my community, and still never got asked out, even though I've done everything society wants me to do. I gave up dating and sex. Now I just throw myself into my degree and started living my life without dating. Is there anything left for me to try?
This is Cathy from the Intimacy Dojo that I'm sitting here with.
And I'm here with Reid from ReidAboutSex.com.
So first off, congratulations. I'm just going to change this completely. In that, you're living your life, it says. Good for you. Rather than not living your life to try to hold on to some relationship that's a bad fit. Mm-hmm. And what we're about to talk about next is very complex because society has given us a bunch of bad messaging and a lot of bullshit advice.
Yeah. I want to just appreciate your vulnerability and how courageous you've been trying over and over all the different approaches and doing what society said. I've been there, done that. What I'd encourage you to do is instead of trying to do what society says, notice what feels good for you. It may be that you're following what society says and just never meeting the demographic of people that would be a good fit for you. I know when I tried to conform a lot, I was very bland because I was always trying to be a good girl. And so I was afraid to show my personality. I was afraid to show who I was because I was pretty sure that wasn't good. And when I started learning to gradually to relax and be more myself, I think I became more interesting. At least people seemed to engage more deeply with me because I was actually showing who I was, and including my flaws. And people tend to notice us more as people when we're showing who we are. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So throwing yourself into your degree, if it's something you love, and living your life is a wonderful thing. I don't know that means you have to give up on having a partner. I was celibate and single for 14 years. And I'd given up. I was pretty convinced nothing would ever happen. And I have lovers now, playmates. I have people in my life that I really enjoy, and I date. I don't know if you tried things like, tried online dating. What Reid helped me the most with, because I called him because I was not dating. My dating profile was so innocuous. It was so like, I'm trying to be what I think you want me to be so that you'll go out with me, that it was totally boring. And what Reid said, I was complaining about not dating, and he said, well, it sounds like your biggest fear is that you're too big for people to date. And I'm like, yes. And he said, put that at the top of your dating profile, that you're a big person. I'm like, then no one will go out with me. And he said, he's making faces. He said, well, since you're afraid of dating anyway, if you put that up there and no one reaches out, then you're safe. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And I put it at the top of the dating profile, and I had so many people email me like, oh my God, I love how honest you are and open you are. And I was like, oh, okay, I can start being the real me, the part of me that I'm pretty sure no one would love, and start sharing bits of that. And it takes courage and time to grow into it. Mm-hmm. But that's what actually let me connect with people, not me trying to be perfect.
No. And I'm going to jump in, and this video may never see the light of day with what I'm about to ask Cathy next. Do you have the relationship that you wanted?
No, I'll share this.
Okay.
I am not in a romantic relationship that I would love to have, or relationships that I would love to have.
Okay.
I have worked through a lot of things, and I've dated a lot. I get a lot of dates now for my profile, more than I actually have time to go out on. Mm-hmm. I have not met people that I want to be in a long-term relationship where I see them every day, mm-hmm. or live with them or something like that. And that's sometimes very frustrating for me.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that I haven't come a long way from where I was.
Okay. And let's say like it was another 5 years like this.
I'll hunt you down and slash your tires.
Well, at what point are you in a similar, I don't own a car, so at what point would you feel that even though you have friends and stuff, you're still not, like, you're not celibate?
The food's there.
Okay. All right, I'm getting food.
Yeah. Sorry, we had food delivered. Even though I'm not celibate, I think that there's part of me that would really like to have more. And I don't want to record the video guy. We'll cut this little section out. I can cut this section out.
Nope. Keep it. It's real. Cinema verite.
Cinema verite. The stakes have arrived. Yeah. So let us know below if this is annoying, because.
Alright.
Yeah. So did I answer your question? Like 5 years from now, yeah, I might be frustrated. I continue to do work, and
but will you have? Will if 5 years from now you still don't have the romantic relationship?
Besides slashing your tires.
Besides slashing my tires, will
on your non-existent car.
On my non-existent car. 5 years from now, looking back, will all of this have been a waste?
No, I mean, I've had some amazing experiences, met some amazing people, and I happen to be very, very picky about who I'm in a romantic relationship with. Mm-hmm. Like, I have very specific things that I would want to have to make my life better by having someone in it that full time.
Okay, so if 10 years from now there's still nobody, will you be second guessing yourself around how picky you were?
It may be. I don't know. It's hard to know. We make the best decision we have at the time and go with what feels right to us, I think. Yeah, I don't know. It's easy looking back to make, hindsight's 20/20, but maybe it isn't. Like, we often remember things a little different than they were. Like, I remember my first boyfriend and I are really good friends now, and I remember things very fondly. And then when we get on the phone, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that quirk. That would have been really annoying because we dated 24 some years ago. Like, I'm like, oh, he's such a sweetheart, he's an amazing person, but like, you start talking to the phone going, oh yeah, that was really annoying. I didn't enjoy that very much. So like, we can make anything, we tend to paint pictures and remember things a little bit differently than they were. I don't know if we make our best guess. There's a lot of things.
So this is, and I'll end on this. This is the biggest tricky spot around relationship coaching and giving people life advice when it comes to relationships. No one talks about what's good advice for when you end up alone. Like, no one talks about it, and I'm not going to cut a video on this yet. Okay. But for me, and I've been in a relationship for 10 years now with Allison, and if you've been watching these videos, you know that I'm very promiscuous, and Allison's not just okay with that. She wanted to date somebody who was promiscuous, and so I get to have my cake and eat it too, and that's its own amount of work to do that well and to leave everybody, the campsite better than you found it. But all the advice currently tends to be calibrated for follow this advice and you will have your relationship. And not only that, it will be the relationship of your dreams. Where this is tricky is, what if we're all wrong? And as a nerd, that's one of my worries. And so I always try to think about, well, is my advice going to be worth it, you living your life for the next 40 years and maybe never finding that person? Will you find them and then they die 3 years later? So whatever tragedy or non-happening happens, what actually allows you, looking back on your life years from now, regardless of what happens, feel like you had a life well lived? Look there for answers. And because I think you finding somebody, changing your hair color and finding somebody, and then being in a not great relationship for 40 years, I think that might not be the best use of a life. But I could be wrong. So I just want to put that caveat there, that I think when we talk about this dynamic, we're actually talking about something way bigger and deeper and important. And I don't know that I have words for it yet.
Well, and just years ago, a friend shared relationship advice with me. And at the time I hated it, but now I think it's really accurate. And she said, you just wake up each morning and you're with this person and you decide if it's a good fit and you do your best. And if at the end of your life you found you spent the whole life together, great. But if you spent shorter time with each other, great. It's not about making your life around somebody.
And now I'm going to take it even deeper as we end this very long video. What if that person's you? If the one you wake up with every morning is actually you? Are you turning yourself into that person? That felt really deep. End it now. End it now.